A solar system chart sits on a desk. The Sun is at the center. Mercury circles close to it. Venus follows farther out. Earth comes next. And between Mercury and the Sun, there is another planet, Vulcan. For a time, this was not speculation. It was an explanation. To the astronomers studying the 19th century sky, Vulcan seemed to belong there. It occupied a place on diagrams. It appeared in calculations. It solved a problem. The confidence was understandable. Mercury was not behaving quite the way it should. As astronomers tracked the planet's orbit, they found a small but persistent discrepancy. The point of Mercury's closest approach to the Sun drifted over time. Gravity appeared to be doing something that existing theory could not fully account for. The anomaly was small. The pressure it created was not. A known planet was refusing to fit a known model. On paper, the solution seemed straightforward. Neptune had recently been discovered after irregularities in another planet's motion pointed toward an unseen gravitational influence. The method had worked before. If Mercury was being disturbed, perhaps another object was responsible. A hidden planet inside Mercury's orbit. Vulcan. The idea fit neatly into the world scientists already understood. No new physics, no broken theory, just one more planet waiting to be found. And once that possibility existed, people began looking for it. The best opportunities came when a dark object crossed the face of the Sun. Observers watched through telescopes fitted for solar viewing. Reports arrived from different locations. Small black dots appeared against the bright solar disk. Some sightings seemed promising. Some seemed precise. Some appeared to match expectations closely enough that astronomers began calculating possible orbits. The charts grew more detailed. The missing world started acquiring a location. On paper, Vulcan was becoming real. The solar system diagram returned, now with more confidence behind it. The hidden planet no longer looked like a guess. It looked like a discovery waiting for final confirmation. And that confirmation seemed close. Articles were published. Orbital proposals circulated. Positions were estimated. Scientific discussion increasingly focused not on whether Vulcan existed, but on exactly where it was. The story appeared to be approaching its ending. There was only one problem. The planet refused to stay put. A real planet should become easier to find. Every successful observation should narrow uncertainty. Every new measurement should strengthen the picture. Instead, something stranger happened. The more people searched, the less stable Vulcan became. One reported sighting suggested one orbit. Another implied a different orbit. Predictions failed to align cleanly with later observations. Astronomers pointed their telescopes toward locales where Vulcan should appear. Nothing appeared. Then a new report would arrive. Again, a dark object crossing the Sun. Again, possible evidence. Again, uncertainty. The growing collection of observations was not converging toward a planet. It was fragmenting into competing versions of one. The solar system chart returned once more. This time, there was a problem. Different charts placed Vulcan in different places. The object supposedly responsible for Mercury's anomaly could not be pinned down with the consistency expected of a real world. Years passed. Searches continued. The pressure changed shape. At first, the threat had been Mercury's unexplained motion. Now the threat was Vulcan itself. The proposed solution was becoming harder to defend than the original problem. Observers organized searches during predicted appearances. Telescopes scanned the sun. Expected crossings failed to materialize. A planet close to the sun would be difficult to observe, but not impossible. Its orbit should still generate patterns. It should still produce reliable opportunities for detection. Yet reliability never arrived. Each attempt to strengthen confidence seemed to remove a little more of it. The contradiction became increasingly difficult to ignore. Evidence existed. The planet did not. At least, not in any dependable sense. This was not a case of a single observation being disproven. That would have been simpler. The challenge was that Vulcan possessed just enough evidence to survive and too little evidence to stabilize. It occupied an uncomfortable space between observation and reality. A world supported by reports. A world resisted by repeated verification. The same diagram kept returning, but its meaning had changed. The hidden planet that once looked like a solution now looked like a question. Eventually, some astronomers began considering a possibility that had once seemed less attractive. Perhaps the problem was never the absence of a planet. Perhaps the problem lived somewhere deeper. Mercury's orbit was still anomalous. That fact had not disappeared. The observations that inspired Vulcan had not been invented. The pressure remained. Only the explanation was failing. This created a new and uncomfortable situation. If Vulcan vanished, Mercury's anomaly survived. The original mystery remained standing after its solution had collapsed. The solar system no longer seemed incomplete because a planet was missing. It seemed incomplete because understanding was missing. For decades, the discrepancy persisted. Then, in the early 20th century, a different explanation emerged. Not another planet. Not another search. Not another chart. A new description of gravity itself. Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity treated gravity not as a force pulling across empty space, but as the geometry of space-time. When the equations were applied to Mercury's orbit, something remarkable happened. The anomaly disappeared. Not because Mercury changed. Not because new observations were discovered. Because the underlying model finally matched reality. The unexplained drift that had inspired Vulcan emerged naturally from the new theory. The problem survived. The planet did not. And suddenly, the meaning of Vulcan changed for the last time. The reported sightings became historical curiosities. The orbital proposals lost their purpose. The hidden world inside Mercury's orbit no longer had a job to perform. The solar system chart returned one final time.
The intricate dance
the sun
of celestial
remained.
mechanics defied classical
Mercury remained. Venus, Earth, and the other planets remained. Vulcan was gone. Not relocated, not renamed, removed. Yet its disappearance was more valuable than its existence would have been. The anomaly that once seemed to prove a hidden planet had ultimately revealed something far larger. Scientists had not mapped a world and then lost it. They had followed trustworthy evidence toward the wrong explanation. And when reality repeatedly refused to cooperate, the failure of that explanation exposed a deeper truth. The vanished planet became evidence that gravity itself was not fully understood. In the end, Vulcan was never the destination. It was the signpost. A planet that appeared on maps, occupied calculations, and convinced reasonable observers that it belonged in the solar system. Until reality kept asking the same question. Where is it? And eventually, the only answer left was that the anomaly had always been real. The planet had not.